Hi, I'm Sean from Mind Possible, and this is a telekinesis lesson for kids. I usually do telekinesis at a level that adults can do, for example, like this. But last week, a kid asked me on my YouTube channel if I could make a lesson for younger people, and I think he or she was about 9 years old. So this is for kids who are about 7, 8, or 9 years old, all the way up to teenager. And this is a way for you to get started learning how to do telekinesis. If you're an adult watching this may not be that impressive, and you'll just want to go all the way to the end of this video where I present my online video course for adults who want to learn telekinesis, and the challenge is much greater at that level. Okay, so let's get started with the lesson. There's some things you're going to need from your folks or from an older brother or sister or someone older who can help you out. You're going to need a little piece of tinfoil about this big, or you could try paper too, but I really recommend tinfoil because it's lighter than paper. And then you're going to need an eraser or a cork or a piece of soap, and then put a little sewing needle or some other type of needle in it. It's very sharp, so I want you to be very careful, and this is why I want you to have an adult or an older brother or sister to help you out. You want to take that needle with the sharp end up and put it in the eraser or whatever you're going to stick it into. Because what we're going to do is eventually fold the piece of tinfoil and balance it on the needle. But we're not going to fold it so tight that it's stuck on the needle. We just want it to be balanced on the needle. When you have that ready, keep watching the rest of the video. When I'm teaching telekinesis to adults, I ask them to use a glass cover to block the object from the wind. But if you're a kid, you might not have one of these at home, or it might be hard for you to get one of these. So we're going to make one right now just using some cardboard, scissors, and tape. So let's just put this away and make a different kind of windscreen. So here I have two folders just like this, and I'm going to cut them, and using the tape I'm just going to make a four-sided barrier. And let's just see how it goes. So first I'm going to make the first side here, and I'm just going to put it on the table like this, and then I'm going to tape it down. On the edge so that it comes up like this. And then I'm going to make the back like this. So I'm just going to lay it over this edge. Fold that up, and then I fold this up. And then I'm going to tape the corner here. Now for the one in front, I need a way to get my hands in there because we're going to start by having our hands near the object. And how do I press my hands through? I'm going to make two cuts in here that are just thin enough to put my hands and my wrist through. That way we're blocking out as much wind as possible from blowing around the object. So, let's see. A little wider. That works. Okay, so now we have a really good windscreen. This way when the object is in there, we know that it won't be moving because of the air in the room waving it around. Okay, so I decided this is too boring and I'm going to decorate it. And I decided I'm going to put two pictures on it. One is of 11 from Stranger Things. I love that show. And the other one is Magneto from the X-Men. So I'm just going to decorate them right here, just for some inspiration, because they can both move stuff with their mind, which is really cool. Okay, so before we get started, I just have to mention that even though we built a pretty good windscreen, it's not going to block out all the air because there's going to be a little bit of air coming in from where our hands come in, and then also from on top. Some of the air movement in the room might get in there, and as you can see here, the object is still moving a little bit, but that's okay because we can't be 100%, but we can get close enough to tell when the object is moving because of the wind or because of the energy in your hands and the energy in your mind. But at the same time, one thing is, as you're looking downward, you're going to be breathing down there. So you want to have something to cover your breath. And I'm going to use a painter's mask. You can get these at a hardware store. But you could just take a t-shirt and put the edge of the t-shirt right here so it hangs over your nose and mouth. And that way that'll block the air from going down and moving the object. So I'm going to put this on now. Okay, and then I'm going to put my hands right in the slots. Okay. And so, you know, people are going to say, maybe it's the heat from your hands that's moving it, or maybe there's still wind going in there. And that's okay. What we're going to do right now is just focusing on making a connection with the object. And then I'll show you how you can tell that it's really your connection with the object that's moving it. But first, when your hands are in there, you just want to be able to see the object with your eyes. So just look at it and try and make a connection with it. Try and imagine how it feels to be there, how light it feels. Look at the colors and the wrinkles and the creases. And don't pay attention to your hands. I don't want you to try and imagine a psi ball or an energy ball or anything like that, because I don't want you to focus on your hands. What you want to use is the rule that says where you put your attention, that's where the energy is going to flow. So if you focus on the object, your energy is going to go to the object and move it. But if you're paying attention to your hands, then the energy is just going to stay in your hands. So your hands are just there and they're resting on the table, and you're just looking at the object. And let's just do this for a couple minutes quietly. I'll hit the fast forward button so you don't have to sit through it, but I'm just going to make a connection with the object just by looking at it. And then in my mind, I'm going to make the intention for it to move. That I just want it to move. That's all I'm going to think, that I want it to move. And it's kind of more of a feeling than a thought. So I'm just having this feeling of wanting it to move. Okay, so we've established a little bit of a connection, and now we're going to do the thing that will help us tell if it's really us moving it or if it's just the temperature in our hands making the air warm and making it move around. And what we're going to do is just breathe in a little deeper than normal and then breathe out a little deeper than normal. So nice deep breaths, but don't breathe so hard that it hurts your head. This is just a little bit deeper breathing than normal, but we're not trying to hold our breath for a long time or give ourselves a headache or anything like that. So look at the object now. Take a couple normal breaths. And I'm about to breathe in, and let's see what happens. I'm going to breathe in and hold my breath a little bit. And then I'm going to breathe out and breathe normally. Just breathing normally. You can see that it's starting to act differently. Sometimes it moves, like right now it's moving a lot. But when I breathed in and held my breath, it sort of stopped moving. So let's do it again. I'm going to take a couple normal breaths. And then nice big in-breath and holding it. And then I'm breathing out. But look, we made it go all the way around while I was holding my breath and breathing in. Now it's going back the other way. Okay, now what I'm going to do is breathe out all the way and hold my breath out just for a couple moments. And let's see if that makes it act a little differently. So I'm just going to take a couple normal breaths first. Let's look how it's behaving. I'm going to breathe in and breathe out all the way. Okay, now I'm breathing again normally. But we saw that that it made a quick turn and then it paused. And now that I'm breathing normally again, it's spinning around a little more loosely. Now I'm going to take a couple normal breaths again and take a nice long in breath and hold it, and let's see what happens. And then I'm going to breathe out. So we see it kind of changed the speed of how it was moving around. Now I'm going to move my hands a little wider and closer apart inside the box. And I'm just going to keep my intention, meaning my eyeballs, are going to stay focused on the object while I do this. So let's see what happens. I'm going to just make them a little wider, like all the way to the edge, and see what that does. And then I'm going to slowly bring them a little closer. And see how it behaves differently. And I'm going to make them wide again. And while they're out here, I'm going to try taking a deep breath again. I'm going to hold it. And then I'm going to relax. So we see that it just started turning around, all the way around. I'm going to breathe normally and then slowly bring my hands closer. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to breathe in and hold it. And there it did 2 spins. And now it's spinning back the other way while I breathe out. Let's see if I can do this outside the cardboard. So I'm going to slide my hands out. We see it's kind of just, I just want it to slow down a little bit. And I'm going to put my hands on the outside. And I'm going to take a big long breath in. And then breathe out normally. Okay, I'm just going to give it a break. Okay, it seems to have slowed down, so I'm going to put my hands in again. I'm just going to keep them far apart. And we see that the object is already responding a little bit. But I'm going to take a nice long in breath again while I look at it. And then I'm going to breathe normally. Okay. So this is how you can start experimenting with telekinesis at home. And with the adult version that has the glass, it's easier because all the air is sealed. But for a kid, this is easier to practice with. And you'll be able to tell after a while if sometimes when you're breathing in, the object moves a certain way, and then when you're breathing normally, it changes direction or moves at a different speed, or when you're holding your breath, it might make the object stop for a moment, or it might make it turn faster. I think it's going to be different for everyone. But at least this will give you a way to start training in a way that's easy. And you can just experiment with make your hands wide and up close, or eventually put your hands outside the box and see if you can send energy through the sides. And remember, always just keep your eyes on the object and send out that desire for it to move. That's all you have to do. Don't focus on your hands, but focus on the object. And then play with your breathing and see how your breathing can affect the movement of the object. So if you practice, a few times a week for 10 or 15 minutes each time, every time you're going to get a stronger connection with the object, and eventually it'll start to move more and more in sync with your breathing. Hi, I'm Sean McNamara, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about my video training course. Basically, this is what I teach you to do by the end of the course. Here's some samples of what else is included in the complete training program. And just like people who've bought my book, if you're a student in the video course, you get access to my private Facebook page where you get to meet other students of this telekinesis system and where you can ask me questions and I can help you along with your progress. So I hope you enroll in the course and have a lot of fun.